What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Slight Less Than Perfect. And as per usual, it's me, Mark, and I got the
ruinous Ryan.
All right.
I was going to say reflective Ryan, and I got the beautiful eyed Breezy.
The beautiful eyed Breezy?
Beautiful eyed, yeah. And of course, we're here on this lovely Wednesday with you guys. Appreciate seeing you guys or seeing us. We've had a lot of new subscribers on YouTube, so thank you guys for that. And we're doing pretty good on the Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Podcasts. So appreciate you guys for coming along with us. And we're going to get right into it today with this out of pocket that is extremely out of pocket. And it's not gaslighty, Breezy, so you can appreciate that. It is a tiny bit gaslighty, I guess, but it went for a while, right? All right. I, 26 male, have been dating a 25-year-old female for 4 years now. We live together for 2 years. Generally, our relationship is pretty good. We rarely fight, and our life together is fulfilling in all aspects except our sex life. Like most relationships, we start off having sex like once a day, but that quickly tapered off. After around 6-month mark, she informed me that she just doesn't enjoy sex that much, and we prefer that we only do it like once a week. I like to be more frequent than this, but I respected her wishes and I generally initiate once a week. However, throughout our relationship, she has enjoyed using her vibrators dildos without me. Yes, I have asked to use them on her, and she's always turned me down 3 to 4 times a week. I don't have a problem with this necessarily. Of course, I would like if she had sex with me or use that energy with me, but I get that sometimes people can be in the mood for one thing and not the other. I watch the corn regularly, and she doesn't like it, but hasn't explicitly asked me to stop. That leads us to the issue at hand. Recently, I purchased a sex doll for myself. It has a face, and it is clear that it's not a real human. I enjoy it more for me, and it feels real. However, my GF freaked out and told me that I need to get rid of it. I feel like it isn't fair to me. I spent a good chunk of money on it, and it's not like I can exactly return it.
And it seems previous owner.
And it's basically the same. It's the same as her toys. After all, she has a dildo, and it certainly isn't shaped like my dick. Am I out of pocket for not wanting to get rid of this? For the record, I much prefer her, but this is just a hand I've been dealt.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting.
I read it 2 or 3 times, and I was kind of like,
All right, caveat, this is from his point of view.
True.
So he's looking very heroish in it, or very protagonist.
Yeah, but he doesn't necessarily. But I think this goes back to like our episode a couple weeks ago.
Exactly, I was thinking that.
It's pretty much like tit for tat, like beat for beat, like
yeah.
What we're saying.
Guy, high sex drive, girl. But I think the problem's actually pretty unique with this one. I think she just doesn't like him.
I think so too.
Yeah.
She may like him romantically, but not sexually.
Yeah.
That's
the problem.
That was like the first comment. Like I read some of the people talking about it, and that was like the first thing. She was like, she doesn't like you, bro.
She don't like you, dog.
Like, she kind of straight up said it. I mean, not straight up said it. She didn't straight up said it, but yeah, it's really looking like that.
It's pretty obvious. And when you're in love, you don't really see that. You don't want to see it. But I think ideally, they probably shouldn't be together.
Yeah, I think he's just bad in bed. He's just, it sounds like he's bad in bed and hasn't put 2 and 2 together. Because I mean, like realistically, he said they were having sex once a day, and then they just tapered off out of nowhere. Yeah. And then she was just like, we could just have sex once a week, which in my head seems you're bad at sex, but like we're in a relationship, and like I do still care for you, so I do want to try this. But I don't even know if she likes him romantically though, because like even if she didn't like him sexually, but like him romantically, like the toys and stuff, she would like encourage him to like use the toys or do something else to like, so she can get to where she needs to get to. But like she seems to be avoiding it completely, except for the once a week, which is kind of like just, here's a cookie.
Just to keep you quiet.
Yeah.
But I feel like if she didn't like him romantically, she wouldn't have a problem with the sex doll.
No, that's just like a basic base level jealousy thing.
I think so too.
Human.
I think that's a girl seeing another girl. Because I mean, like, it is however you want to look at it. She wants to be the only person that he has.
I've had experiences with girl jealousy, and it's
petty and dumb.
Sometimes very irrational. Most times
very irrational. Yeah.
And it may just be like a base level squick of you sex doll.
I think so too. Because I think it's male sex toys in general are kind of like demonized.
They are absolutely man.
Demonized.
I am a small brained idiot when it comes to this too, because they're just weird to me. Like a fleshlight, like a pocket pussy. It's just weird looking. I mean, piranha.
Oh no! I've seen that.
Yeah,
feed me, Seymour.
No, don't.
I mean, I agree. Like, I am open to, like, whatever you need to do to get you there. Like, it is what it is. But I agree though. Like, I guess because they seem more aggressive, I guess, if anything. Because I mean, like,
we have, unfortunately, even though we don't want to, although I may be outing myself here, we've seen the ads in the corner of the screen.
Oh yeah, always. And
yeah, aggressive is right. They look angry.
They look like they're trying to eat me.
It reminds me of when you use a hammer and you just
So I wanted to preface that, like, I'm totally ignorant on the male sex toy game. I respect it though. Like, males should be able to have these things, and there shouldn't be like this double standard. Like,
it shouldn't be. But then on the other side of that too, for example, like a sex doll, like a girl can just get like a dildo, like even one like sticks on the stuff. Like a dude has to have like a whole sex doll. And it's like that's not something you can just like put in the drawer. You know what I mean? You have to have like a place for it. And then like the thing I think the most about it, like why I can never get one, I don't want to clean that shit up. That is literally like if I even had the desire, like if I was in this position where like I will even thinking about getting one, I'm not cleaning. I don't want to clean it. Like, I eject it for a reason. I don't want nothing to do with
like a Foreman grill.
Okay, just
where'd you know? So
out the trap,
guys. Want to go into too much information? Anyone?
I'm for it.
I mean, whatever. I
need to learn. I don't know this stuff.
So I've bought one before, actually.
Okay.
It was actually the first thing I bought with my my second paycheck from GameStop. So I was like 16 at the time and dumb.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna pay $100 for this fake ass vagina. Mm-hmm. I got it. I used it, and then I'm like, wow. Latex really makes you itch. I'm like, it's like friction burn. It's like, have you ever like, gone outside, walking, had your jeans just like rub against your thigh to the point where it's just like, for some reason, it just itches like hell. And I'm just like, wow, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to use this again. And also, cleaning it out is a friggin' hassle. A gross hassle.
I knew it was. It
is like the human body has a whole built-in method of getting that stuff out that fleshlights certainly don't. And I'm just like, bruh, this shit costs like $70. It ain't reusable. This is some bullshit. I threw that damn thing away. It's like, never again.
God damn.
Fair enough, because I mean that's exactly.
That's what it looks like.
What I mean. Perfect. Perfect. You know what I mean? Perfect.
Jerkins. So yeah, that was
all right. You confirmed everything that I thought, because in my head that's exactly how it played out.
Straight up, it was like absolutely everything that you think will go wrong is the problem with the entire idea.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. And that's why. Because so like. Now, like, so my thought now is like, if you have like an entire dial, like, is it just like a screw in the back and just slides out, or like
the butt like drops out and then you collect the deposit?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know. You would hope it has like a tray that comes out.
I mean, I don't want to dig in there to clean it out.
No.
I mean, I guess, you know what? You like what you like, right?
We're asking ourselves why we're getting demonetized on these ads. I just don't understand it.
Maybe you can like take it outside and like hold it down.
Use a leaf blower. Yeah. Just flapping lips. It's spraying genetic information.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Well, it's worth looking into. How you clean out a sex doll?
No, I don't want to look into that. What are you gonna do? Watch a video on it?
I mean, I need to know.
Yeah, man. It's just like the videos with the banana and the condom. If you don't know, how will you ever know?
Yeah. I'm good not knowing though. That's one thing. I'm like,
Okay. We got to get back to the.
All right. So like, was like, who's out of pocket? So like, my thoughts is, I think that she doesn't really want to be with him in a relationship in no facet, and she's just going through the motions. Yeah. But she's still his girlfriend, so she has the jealousy aspect up to it. Yeah. And she's like, get rid of the doll.
Yeah. Yeah, I think more communication is needed. You need to know exactly what her problems with either you are. Maybe she actually just doesn't like sex. Maybe she doesn't like sex with you. You need to find that out. You need to talk to her and kind of broach this whole problem that you're having with her, so that you can come up with a better response for this.
Yeah. It could be a whole world of anything, because like, true. It could be, oh my goodness, it could be like trauma related. It could be anything like that. It could be, it could just be how she's feeling at that moment. The sex drive is such a fascinating thing, especially when it comes to women. It's such a fascinating, it's like a whole dimension of,
and it's peaks and valleys. It's a whole layers. Spectrum. Yeah, it is very, very layered.
It's psychological too. Like it's heavily psychological. It's not like a simple switch like it is for us in most cases. It's it's a lot that goes into it. So they definitely got to talk. Maybe it's something. It could even be like something like that he's potentially. I don't want to blame him, but something that he's not doing that she's kind of. It could be so much.
Yeah, honestly. It could be so many.
It could be so much.
So many different things.
So, like Ryan said, they should definitely just, like, hash it out. He should be direct. Like, they shouldn't, like, pussyfoot around. They should, like, have a talk about it. It's a problem.
Yeah. Come to think of it, we didn't actually answer the question that OP had asked. He asked, am I the asshole for not wanting to get rid of the sex doll? That's a little harder to say.
That's a hard question because it's like,
in this case though, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like your girlfriend has asked you to get rid of this.
Yeah.
Like this is your way of coping with the lack of sexual contact.
I think that's I don't know if he's the asshole for not getting rid of it, but I think that's an easy way to open that conversation you were talking about.
They definitely got to talk about it. Yeah.
That is absolutely true.
I think it's like, and it's like, simply like, hey, I want you to get rid of sex doll. I was like, well, I have the sex doll because we don't really have sex that much.
Exactly.
Yeah. What can we do to fix that? Like, is there something I'm doing, you're doing? Like, what is it? Essentially.
But if she gives him a hard ultimatum, like, get rid of this or I'm going.
Like, without answering anything. Though.
Without answering anything. Like, we aren't having sex. And she's just like, I just don't want to. And then you got, I don't think he's an asshole at all.
If it's that, if she gives an ultimatum, yeah, for sure, she's out of pocket, for sure. Yeah. Like, kick her out, go get on to the next one. But, like, if it's, because, I mean, like, we don't know that. I mean, that could be a trigger for her, too, though. You know what I mean? Like, maybe her other boyfriend, like, her last boyfriend, all he had sex time. That's all he did. He never touched her. You know what I mean? Like, like you said, it's a million different myriad of different things that it could possibly be. But I think, like, her saying, like, I don't want you to have it is, like, the easiest way for him to open a door for the 100%. Conversation.
100%.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know if he's the asshole for not getting rid of it. I think it's like a catch-22, damned if you do, damned if you don't type of deal.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they need to talk first, and then based on that talk, you can actually say, now that I understand why you don't want to perhaps have sex with me, maybe we're just not meant to be together, or maybe if you're after having this talk, you'll be fine with the sex doll. Maybe after having this talk, we won't need the sex doll. Having the talk will change something about the situation.
Right.
And something needs to be changed. You can't stay in this holding pattern.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair.
I mean, that's just not fair. Either one.
Yeah,
I'm saying, like, there's just no way to live in a relationship. I mean, because in my head, I'm like, imagining them like, she's on the bed with her vibrator, and then he's just pounding the sex down. They just high five each other and go to sleep. Yeah. And I'm just like,
yeah. Freeze frame.
I'm like, if you guys are like roommates or like best of friendos, I guess, but like,
yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Maybe they could switch. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, hey, you like what you like. If that's what you're into, as long as you're consenting adults, no babies, no animals, hey, do what you do. Do what you do. Funny enough, Ryan's story actually goes into today's topic.
DDT. 3DO.
Oh no. Ryan's story goes into today's topic. Because you brought up something last week when we were talking about when we were going back and talking about like us being kids or whatever. We don't really know much about each other like pre-high school. Mm-hmm. So, and I was just I want to ask you guys about it. Like, what you guys the first like 13 years of your life, like what the hell happened?
Interesting. Interesting.
All right. What was going on?
Where do we start?
Jesus. I don't know. I guess so. In my notes, I wrote like earliest memory. Like, obviously, you don't have to give me like just cliff notes. Highlights, some fun stories.
Fun stories. So the first grade through fourth grade, I was not the best kid. I told you about the story about the sand and the vagina, right? That was basically me, right? And that continued for a while till I guess my parents split up. And when that happened, I kind of stopped making trouble for my parents and started to be, more of a good kid. I guess I thought that if I was good, then, how egocentric kids can be with things. They think that maybe if they're a good kid, that their parents would be happy and not split up and stuff. And I can see now as an adult, that's what I thought. But I mellowed out and got really deep into reading, video games, nerd shit. Mm-hmm. Not much really changed between then and now. I'm still the same nerd, nerdy stuff. Love video games, programming, reading, all that good stuff. And that's kind of it. Just went into high school, found some dudes at this lunch table, and I knew that I had been reading this book about jokes and how jokes could break the ice. And I was like, hey, you guys want to hear a joke? And I told them a joke, and the dudes at the table were, this guy, another guy named Alex, and then there was the fifth member of our group that we unfortunately lost contact with a long time ago. You remember Jason?
I remember Jason.
Stocky Jason. He was our fifth dude. He was... Jason, shout outs to Jason if you remember from Cass.
Oh yeah, I remember.
If you're listening to this, we remember you, Jason.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, it was him and then Liz. I remember that day you're talking about because we were all because the rest of us like it was still early in the school year, so like we knew each other but we didn't know each other yet. And you just kind of walked up and said something. We laughed and you sat down and that was it.
Infiltration complete.
And we didn't, the ninth grade, the freshman lunch table experience is supposed to be torture for like a lot of people. It was fairly
pretty lit.
We had like a council going on. We were just a bunch of dumbasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the one thing I remember vividly about lunch is the one day I had it was after health class, like we were learning about like the female reproductive system, whatever. And I remember just like being a dumb kid and talking about like, PMS periods, whatever. Those are dumb. Those aren't anything. And I just remember like Liz being there.
I remember Liz.
And she just went off and like gave an excruciatingly detailed of what happens like start to finish like through the menstrual cycle. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I'll shut up now. And then she just looks at me and just goes back to eating her lunch. And I look at my food and I'm just like,
need more ketchup.
I was like, oh man. I'm like, this is a day. And it's like one of my most vivid memories of freshman year. Cause she just, and it's crazy cause like, she's super chill, except for things she's like, absorbently passionate about. Yeah. And now when she's just like, you need to know what you're saying and why you're wrong. And I was like, yeah, fair is fair.
No, it made you better, honestly. That's what I liked about. So I think our class we had together was Mr. Wilson's class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all had Mr. Wilson's class in lunch.
Was Alex in Mr. Wilson's too?
Like he was just at the lunch table, and did we?
He's at lunch table. I had a math class with him.
Okay, you had a math class with him. Okay.
Yeah, because actually me and Alex got cool in math class super randomly. So Alex, because we sat in alphabetical order, so Alex sat right behind me. Mm-hmm. So I remember because the one day I was playing, I was boarding class, and I should have been paying attention, but I was playing Super Mario Star Saga?
Superstar
Saga, yeah. On the GBA. And I was playing that in class in my desk, whatever. Alex was behind me and he was just looking. And I remember the one day he was talking to me. We started talking about games or whatever. And I was like, yeah, whatever, this dude seems kind of cool. And he was at lunch. Like a couple of days later, we're going to show our age here, but this is back before we did have the internet accessible. Yeah. So he printed out an entire guide for Superstar Saga. So like while I was playing it, I just got lost and he was like, yeah, you should just do this and do that or whatever. And I'm like, wow, dope, bro, thanks. So I'm like doing it and I'm thinking just Alex is just like either playing the game or just some type of genius gamer. Turn around, he just got like the pages and he just read it off to me. And that's just how we got cool because he like helped me with the game, whatever. Then he was at lunch and then we just, hey, that's just how it started.
That's how it was, yeah. And Anime Club. That's also, we spent a lot of time with Alex at the Anime Club.
Yeah.
Oh, we were such nerds.
Super nerds.
Did I say we're still talking about the same shit we were talking at that table.
Facts,
we went on for 20 minutes about Kingdom Hearts last episode.
We did.
That's the same shit we did in 2004.
It is.
I only played that because you were talking about it so much in 9th grade.
Yeah, I remember going hard on it. I was like, Disney? Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
The reason that I was so adamant about it is because I had said the same things you said when I first heard about it. I was like, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of. This game is shit trash. And I see 9.5 out of 10. And I'm just like, how much did they pay you to print that?
Oh, yeah. I stopped trusting video game rags about that time.
Well, you know, there was stuff happening.
I was seeing some like Nintendo bias, a lot of 9s and 10s, and I was like, it's a great game, but, you know.
That's right. Nintendo was on a tear. That was
they were on a tear.
Days.
They were on a tear, yeah.
Yeah, back when they actually cared about their games or whatever.
Dang,
but yeah, it was
out like that, and they gonna sue you like they did Bowser. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that. Sorry,
but I remember in Mr. Wilson's class when me and Breezy got cool, we talked about that episode of Family Guy.
Oh yeah,
Tier Griffin.
Oh, we died.
We just laughed for hours and hours and hours. But the killer part was Mr. Wilson as a teacher.
Yeah.
So, all right. So everybody knows Mr. Wilson was our biology teacher, and he was a very eccentric man, like just typical science teacher oddball. Mm-hmm. But he was like super smart, but like he was just such an oddball, and he kept telling us how he invented Rogaine, like the entirety of the school year. And anytime anything would come up, he was like, yeah, you know, I invented that. Like back in, I don't know if it was like he did it for his master's or like whatever. He did it and he was like, he's always talk about it. And so at the end of the year rolls around and we're like, he's like, he has this big closet in the back and he's like cleaning out like all the old, science experiments and just stuff he didn't want to use anymore. And we find this black book, like leather bound, like fancy book. And we like open it up and it just has like this chemical formula on it. Like, Fe2R, whatever. And so we look at it and like thumbing through it and like, it's just a bunch of text in there, not paying too much attention to it. And we take up to Mr. Wilson. He's like, oh yeah, that's my, he's like, that's Rogaine. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, that's Rogaine. So we started reading it and it's like a breakdown of like everything Rogaine is, like how it takes the different follicles, exfoliates them, gets the hair growth, stimulates it. Like it's all in like this 50-page like black notebook. And I'm looking at him and I'm just like, it's true. And I'm like, he's he's this eccentric, weird old dude, but I'm like, he wasn't lying. And I'm like, I don't know ever what happened to Mr. Wilson. Me and Mr. Wilson had an interesting relationship because I used to try to time myself from getting kicked out of his class.
Yeah.
Dang.
We caused a lot of trouble in his class.
A lot of trouble.
But he was pretty chill about it.
Pretty chill about it.
Yeah, he was a very chill teacher. You learned and you got entertained.
Yeah.
I think he just enjoyed the entertainment that like we provided by being.
Yeah. Now as an adult, yeah, I can see that.
He was kind of like, I just don't want to deal with this. Just let them do what
Just
they're
let me
doing.
make my role game in my lab. It was a cool class. We had like a ring of like freaking cheating going on in the class.
Yeah,
a cheating ring.
Dang.
Because it was like literally everyone. Yeah. I think everyone was cheating but Liz.
Yeah, and me, I hated cheating, but
I had no idea there even was a cheating ring.
Oh yeah, there was a cheating ring. There was definitely a cheating ring.
Dang.
I was in the middle of it, but just for social reasons.
Wow.
Oh, I utilized it. I mean, like I was good at science because science is kind of my thing, but I was like, why not?
It was we had homework. Yeah, we had homework. And
for sure homework. I never did homework.
A lot of us, I didn't do homework.
I just didn't do homework.
Dang.
I was like a last minute homework person, for sure.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a degenerate as a student. Just terrible student. Yeah, always have been.
Well, you stayed. You completed your 4 years there. I got kicked out in 9th grade.
I got kicked out after 10th grade.
Yeah.
Oh,
I only lasted there because of 9th and 10th grade. Like, my GPA was high enough 9th and 10th grade that my terrible 11th and 12th grade just bounced it out.
Yeah, I was a goofball, and I had a gap in my schedule that it didn't get repaired till really late, and then they threw Japanese in there, and I was screwed. I was completely screwed because I got to Japanese like 6 weeks late. And there was no way to catch up with the teacher I had, who I won't slander. I won't slander on this episode.
I'll slander her for you.
You should slander her. Because I mean, like everyone slandered her. Like all of school, everyone just slandered her the entire time.
All right, I had her too. Don't worry. Later episodes, I'll slander her for you.
Yeah, no, I straight up got an F in there. Not for lack of trying. And I actually did enjoy Japanese when I wasn't in class. When I took the textbook home and like studied it there. It was great. It was great.
When that teacher was there.
When the teacher was there, I didn't feel like I learned a lot going over the stuff. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause she was a monster. Cause like the one day I saw her, and it pissed me off because it was the one time I wasn't doing anything stupid. Like I was actually, one of my teachers had me like deliver something to another teacher. Oh, and she like stopped me in the hallway and just gave me the 5th degree about it. And I'm like, I don't even know you or who you are or what you're about. I'm like, I gotta go to this classroom, drop this off, and go back to class. That's all I'm trying to do. Mm-hmm. And she gave me the runaround. She like walked me back to class to talk to the teacher to find out that's what I'm actually doing. And then she kind of like watched me go to the other classroom and watch me come back. And I'm like, don't you have anything else to do? But like, no, she's just a miserable old woman that made everyone's life miserable. You talk to anyone that took her class, absolutely hate that woman. I had like 3 interactions with her. And then like 11th grade year, because that's when we got into the new building, she was on lunch duty. She was on lunch duty during the period I had lunch in. Mm-hmm. And like I hung out with the anime kids, so like all the anime kids had Japanese. So they like would see her and she would just like hover around us because she saw her kids. And I'm like, dude, it's like people are actually doing bad stuff over there. I'm like, we're literally just sitting there talking about anime. We are like the least likely to do something, and yet you're hovering around us the entire lunch period.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but I didn't have it for very long, so it was all right.
But we had that geography teacher though.
Oh, we had the same geography teacher. Yeah, I got moved to a different geography teacher. I did slightly better. I guess geography is just not my subject, but the teacher we had didn't make it any better.
Nah, I want the drop kick her.
I didn't have geography at Cass, so
yeah.
I don't know this geography teacher.
She was our first class.
She's just like the Japanese teacher.
Today. Yep.
That's never good.
Yeah, I had her again in 12th grade, and she failed me in the class because it was AP government, and I'm like, one, I'm like 16, 17. I don't care about government. I don't care what about the government. I don't care any of this. And I'm like, it's AP government. So we were like doing like a chapter a week. And I'm like, bro, 2 or 3 no, it's like 2 or 3 chapters a week. And I'm like, I can't keep up with this. I'm like, I got 7 classes. I got 4 AP classes and I'm working. And I'm like, it's government. Like, I don't care about this class.
I remember she did give a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like
and I was just like,
exceptional amount of work.
cause it was, the messed up thing was, it's like, most of the people in my group of friends were like, we were all in like the AP classes together. And like, we all had the same teacher. So we're like, kind of like con our teachers, but like realistically, like, hey, you know, we got all of these projects. Can like we push this project? We were just like kind of, you know, nickel and dime, like, hey, can we move this one back a day because all this stuff is due? And like all of our teachers, like for the most part, they're really accommodating. Like not so much with like tests, but like projects or like papers or whatever, they would give us like extra day or two to get them in. But whatever. Her, it was always a hard deadline, and I just gave up in her class. Yeah. Similar situation to you though, like. When one of the semesters started and I filled out the class, they put me in another class, but they didn't put me in another class till like 4 weeks later. It was like 4 or 5 weeks later I got into this class. And when I got into the class, the first thing I did was ask the teacher, I'm like, hey, so like, what do I need to do to make up the class? Whatever. Like, what do I need to do to make up for whatever? Can I just get some extra time to finish that while I'm still doing the current work? She was like, don't worry about it. She was like, I'll just curve your scale from here into the semester, and the next semester you just have to, you obviously will have to do all the work. And I'm like, cool. So I do all the stuff. I mean, like A's and B's on like everything that I'm turning in or whatever. And then at the end of the semester, I get an F on my report card. I'm like, how did I get an F? I'm like, I did A's and B's on everything. She was like, well, you missed like 15, 20 assignments. And I'm like, I wasn't in the class. I wasn't even registered. You never gave them to me. And she was just like, well, I never said you had to do them. I'm like, bro, you literally told me that I didn't have to do these things. Oh, wow. And that was one of the reasons. Like in my school experience, I had so many different experiences with different teachers that like, stuff like that happened, or like getting in trouble for stuff that I didn't do or whatever. I just didn't care anymore. Yeah, I was just like, whatever. And I just ended up going to summer school because I was like, what can I do to fix this when like all the adults in this situation, my counselor and my teachers, have thrown me under the bus.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I genuinely wasn't really ready for all that freedom in high school, and it didn't help that my counselor just had so many other students and couldn't really personalize like my thing, and I had that glaring hole for so long, and it shouldn't have been there. I should have been properly prepared for everything. Yeah, but I did dick around quite a bit in 9th grade, so I'm gonna put that solely on me. I just wish they gave me a chance in the second half of the school year. They did give me a chance to like clean up, and I just still was
just like whatever. Yeah, I can't blame you though, because my 9th grade too, my schedule was so dumb that I didn't have 2 classes the first 2 hours or something like that. Then I had like a class. Then I had lunch. Then I had like gym. Then I had like 2 more classes. Like I was missing core classes. Oh. And I was just like, I told my counselor, she was like, yeah, okay. I'm like I'm like 13. Like I barely know how to like walk around in school, and I'm terrified of everything. Like it took me forever to get the courage to tell you that I don't have classes I need. Yeah. And you just like brushed me off. Yeah. We're figuring it out. And I was like, Cool.
Yeah, whatever. The mines need more workers anyway. You'll be all right.
No, I had a blast in 9th grade, though. 9th grade was like...
9th grade was fun.
A ton of fun. Just having this whole building, too. Like, that was the biggest school I've ever been to. An 8th-floor school.
8th floor, lots of empty corridors. I remember, like, the 6th floor was basically a ghost town. You just go there and dick around.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was just there. Or any of the forum rooms. Yeah. Just go and just... Don't touch anything in those rooms, though.
Yeah, that's true. Watch your step.
One of my classes was like basement to floor 5, and the students in our school couldn't use the elevators. We had to walk the entire floor. And I think, what was it between classes? Like 5 minutes or something?
5 minutes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
So I'm like rushing to get my clothes on to get out the locker room to run up the stairs to get to class. I mostly made it. I like 2 times I was late. And yeah, of course, I had Miss Japanese.
Miss Japanese.
And that's not a race. That's the class she taught.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me clear that up. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and she wasn't Japanese, by the way. But yeah, after gym, I would have to run up to that floor. Then a couple times I was late, she raised hell about it.
As she does.
I got lucky because my class that I had after gym was my math class. And I didn't run. I was like, I literally just came from gym. I was like, I need a second. Like, I'm still sweaty, like trying to put my regular clothes back on. I'm just supposed to do the rest of my day like this.
Not just gym, but swim also. Sometimes I have swim. I'd be so tired and still got to run up those stairs.
I was lucky. I didn't get swim. I had gym twice, so I was like,
okay.
I got out of that. But then I was, I literally got up to my math teacher, and when I talked to her, I was like, I have gym before this. So anytime I was like a minute or too late, she just like, pretty much was like, that math doesn't math. Like, you can't get from the basement after gym to 4 or 5 in 5 minutes. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So she was like, let me slide on that aspect. But I was like, oh, thank you.
I wish I had a reasonable teacher.
I had a few. I had a couple, like, all of my math, nope, that's a lie. 2 of my math teachers I really liked. My 11th grade math teacher, because he was just hilarious. Because he was like, probably like our age now when we were in school. So he was like young enough to like know stuff that was going on and like, in the world that was like relate to us. And he like made the lessons make sense to us. Like he tailored them to a younger audience instead of just like, you know, the old school teachers, like, this is the way you learn it. This is the way it is. This is the way it is. And he was like a very progressive teacher. So he was really cool. And then like my 9th grade teacher, which was hilarious because like complete opposite. Because my 9th grade teacher was like an 80-year-old white lady. And then like it was a young black guy as my 11th grade teacher, but like very similar teaching styles. And I'm like, why can't all teachers be like this? Like, just don't be a dick. Like, because every teacher I've ever learned from that I actually like cared and learned from is just like, they weren't a dick. They taught to a way that made sense to like kids. Because I'm like, you're teaching kids, but they didn't care.
Yeah, it's really like the job itself. It's like, because to a certain degree you got to steel yourself, but is that the right thing to do? Because they're still kids, but it's just that the simple fact that like kids sense weakness.
Yeah, they do, so and they feed on it. And I was that kid. Like, I definitely feasted on weakness.
Exactly. So, like, I get why you want to be like, you want to put up the tough front, but the best teachers that I've had, they were tough on the outside, but marshmallowy on the inside,
which is cool. Again, I think that's how it should be. Like, obviously, don't get pushed around, but it's like, if your class is not fun, kids are never going to learn. They're not going to learn.
Maybe like. I have a story. I've told you guys about this, and I hope I haven't said this on it, but it's about my math teacher after I left, my 11th grade math teacher, who acted just like the Japanese teacher, and in fact also had the last name of the Japanese teacher we're talking about. And
they look
alike too. Wow. And I always wondered, are you two related? Because they actually had the same last name. So this teacher, she was an old lady, and she was absolute no shit taking hard ass. But we respected her for it instead of disliking her for it, because she was never unfair. She was hard as hell, but she never cheated you, and she never took any of your shit. So like one time we had this class clown tough guy in there, just absolute dumbass, and he was also like a bully. He was a real thug type. And one day, after like the second day that he had cut up in her class, she told him to get out and never come back. Just go, don't come back into my class. The next day he came back and she said, no, I said don't come back. She sent him out. She didn't even send him to the principal. She just said get out. So he goes out the second time. This time he goes to the principal, and the principal comes and personally escorts him back to the class. And she said, no, I'm not teaching him. Get him out, or else I will not teach this class at all. Got to the point where the principal actually, gave in to this. It just took him out of the class, and she just continued her class as normal. And from then on, no one in the class tried anything.
See, I can respect that, because like if it's like if you're a hard ass and it's fair, that's cool. But it's like a lot of teachers try to be hard ass and they just try to be petty, and it's like
petty power. But she never did that. She was always fair. Like if you had like an assignment you didn't turn in, you could turn it in. You just get a grade down. And that was fine, And
That's cool.
if you're more than 3 days late, you can't turn it in. And that's it. She never abused her power. She never abused the students. She just expected you to come in and learn and just not act like an ass. You don't act like an ass.
I think that's fair.
That's it.
That's fair enough. Like,
I dig it.
I can deal with that type of hard love, tough love.
Yeah.
And the weirdest part of the story was just like she acted like Japanese teacher's big sister.
I can see it. Because the other teacher was like a spoiled friggin' brat.
You could feel it. You could feel the pettiness.
Yeah.
And like, I respect her. I still respect her. She's still my favorite teacher, even though she wasn't fun at all. No fun. But I learned. I learned algebra in that class.
I actually like tough teachers because, like, half of my thing about school was I actually liked learning when learning was, like, the main focus. I didn't like all the other rigmarole. I didn't like all the other stuff associated with school, but the learning part of it was great. And when you have tough teachers, the focus is more so on the learning than the shenanigans that are happening.
Yeah, I think with me personally, it was the fact that, like, when I was in elementary school, the school itself was too easy, and I was really, really bored, and it wasn't anything for me to do afterward. So, like, I was always the first one done with my test. I was always the first one done with anything else, and they were just like, "We'll just sit there," and I'm like,
"Yeah, just sit there."
I'm like an 8, 9-year-old kid. It's like, I literally cannot just sit there.
Yeah.
And so, and it would really set me off. It's like, at one point, like, I got in trouble so much that, like, my mom came up to school and it was one of those ones where she was like, she just looked at me and she's like, and she just didn't even say anything. We just drove home in silence. Like, she didn't even whoop me or nothing. She just didn't have nothing else to say. And that was one of the ones where I had to look inside myself as a kid. I was like, all right, man, you know what? I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better. Like you say when you're younger, like, you're so egotistical. It's like, not
even mad, just disappointed.
Yeah, but it's like, years later, found out there was a bunch of other stuff going on. My mom was just like, not dealing with this. But then it's like, so after I had that, like, inner crisis for myself, I decided to, like, start drawing class. So, like,
That's what I used to do. That's cool.
I would get done with my work, turn it in, and I would just start drawing. And then once I got in trouble for drawing after I got done with my work. And then after that,
you can't satisfy him.
I became an even bigger menace after that.
Because it was like, I'm trying.
I literally did the only thing I can do. Like, I brought my colored pencils, my crayons, whatever, and I'm just in the corner. I'm like, because I remember it was 5th grade. And, like, it was 4 desks. And it was 4 desks together, like, facing each other, 2 and 2, and then there was 1 on the end. And I was on the end so the teacher can see me, because I was always doing stuff. And then one day, everyone's, like, we're taking the test, and everyone's done with the test. Like, I'm done with the test, and everyone else is still taking the test. So I pull my notebook out, and I just start drawing. And she's like, we can't have anything on the desk where everyone else is taking the test. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? She's like, sit there. Now, mind you, the test is the entire hour period of class. I got done in like 20 minutes. So I usually want me to sit here for 40 minutes.
Right.
And after that moment, got in trouble. Mom had to come up to the school. And then, like, I was just a menace after that. Because I was just like, if you can't let me have this little slice of peace because you want to be petty about it.
That was your one bad day.
That was my one bad day. Because then after that, I was just a menace.
Yeah.
And they couldn't necessarily do anything to me because, like, at the school, it was a Catholic school, and they couldn't kick me out because, like, my grades were stellar. Like, I was getting, like, a 3.7, 3.8. I kept failing conduct. Like, we had U's instead of F's.
I remember.
Was that Jesus or something? We had U's instead of F's, too.
It was Christ the King, but yeah.
All right, basically Jesus.
I mean, Jesus was our rival school. But, yeah, it's like, so they couldn't do anything. And I was just like, you guys created the monster that I am. I tried.
Man, y'all remember assigned seats?
Yeah.
Yeah, wild. Like,
I was always the exception to the rule. The teacher always picked my seat. Like, the science seating, yeah, it worked for like a minute because I was a class clown. I got cool with everybody. And the teacher couldn't be mad at me because I was a class clown. But I was also one of your smart. I was like top 5 in all my classes. So I'm like, top 5. I'm also the class asshat. And it's like, what do you do with me? And I'm like, you made me like this, so you figure it out. So that reminds me. So 7th grade, that was around the time Pootie Tang came out, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
So I got triple dog dare to ask our religion teacher if she's ever had poontang pie. So you know what I did?
What'd you do?
I asked our religion teacher if she ever had poontang pie. So the conversation was like this. Now, mind you, she's another like 70-year-old lady, right? So it was like easy money. Go up in class, and I'm like walking up, and they're like, Mark, you're like, I had like a couple days to do it, and it was like the last day, and they're like, Mark, you got to do it today. I don't remember what I had to do if I didn't do it. So I walk up to the teacher, and I'm like, hey, Miss So-and-so. I'm like, have you ever, I like, you like pie, like apple pie, blueberry pie, whatever, and whatever. She's like, yeah, you know, she told me like whatever her favorite was. And I'm like, I said, like, have you ever had, I don't know, to this day, I don't know how I kept a straight face, but I was like, you ever had poontang pie? And she was like, no, I've never heard of that. What type of, I should also say that, like, I was in an inner city school, a predominantly black school, and she was an older white woman. So, like, it was, you know, like, she didn't know. I could have been saying, you know, some ethnic dish to her or whatever. Like, there's a million things, like, a million reasons why she could have just, like,
Did you have it for Kwanzaa? Yes. On the 5th day of Kwanzaa,
we had poontang pie.
we partook in the poontang pie.
So ask her, like, she ever had poontang pie, and I remember she was just like explaining to me, and she was like, "No," she's like, "Can you describe it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like it's very similar to like lemon meringue, but it's like." And I had this whole like super long description of it, and then just ended and just walked away, and everyone was just looking at me like, "I can't believe you actually did it! Like you actually did it."
Do you think any of our listeners are going to look that up?
Oh, most of these degenerates know about it already.
Degenerates know what it is.
Oh boy!
Yeah. If they don't,
you don't have to watch Pootie Tang to know what it is.
Yeah,
you just watch The Rock.
Yeah,
in WWE.
God, yeah, right. That was one of his favorites.
That's one of his favorites.
Poontang pie. That's a hell of a story.
But another one of my favorite teachers in middle school, he was, his name was Mr. Longmire, I remember. He was a young teacher, because, like, we were, 12, 13, and he was, like, 20-something, like literally just graduated and got the job. And he was such a pushover, and we just took advantage of it at all times. But one day, when basketball season started, right, on the basketball team, like, we used to get to the school early to help set up and stuff or whatever. And then one day he came and helped set up. He's like, yeah, you know, I like basketball, whatever. And of course, us being a bunch of young black kids, and we see this white guy, we're like, man, you can't play basketball. Get out of here, whatever. Schooled all of us. Like, crossed us all over, like, landed up, like, just destroyed, disrespectful to all of us. And then he just walked off. Like, after that, he just walked off, was like, good luck on your game. And he just sat in the stands, and so after that, no one was allowed to disrespect Mr. Longmire. Because after that, like, in those 10 minutes, he gained all of our respects. And he was our history teacher. And, like, I'm fucking about history when I'm 12. But after that, everyone was like, his class, laser focused and everything. And that's all it took. Because, like, you beat the basketball team in basketball as a teacher. It's like,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
You got our respect.
Golden. Like, it was literally out of a cheesy 90s movie.
Yeah, that's like the young athletic teachers got so much respect. Because we had a guy, Mr. Haley. He was the coolest guy. He was the math teacher, but he was like the young guy. So we just, you know.
Just cool by default.
So by default, he's just a cool young teacher.
I wish.
What?
Oh, he's just a cool young teacher.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were building up to him too.
Oh, no.
I was about how he did like triple backflip and then dunked afterwards.
No, he was just super athletic, young, cool. We had two young like black teachers, and they were like I don't know if they were best friends, but they used to like just be together all the time. Mr. Haley and Mr. Elam, and Mr. Elam was the science teacher, so they kind of like back to back. One of them taught math, one of them taught science. The girls all liked Mr. Haley because he was like young. And,
of course.
Yeah. This was like middle school. I think he was married at the time. But, no, I had a lot of interesting teachers in, middle school. I had one tough one that was like one tough but fair one who was our like social studies teacher. But she also had the clapbacks. in terms of like, just talking
Those
about
teachers
people.
are always fun too.
Oh my goodness, she
always fun.
She was invincible. Like she roasts you in a heartbeat. Also had my homeroom teacher she was sometimes we was cool, but oftentimes she was just off her rocker. She was mean and unfair most of the time. Mean and unfair. She gave me the most write-ups and referrals. It felt like I got a referral like 1 or 2 a month sometimes, just for whatever.
And that's like work.
It is.
Just getting them daily. Every other day.
I was sneaky though. That's how I got away with a lot of stuff.
One of the weirdest, but coolest teachers I ever had, he was either 11th or 12th grade for me. He was my social studies teacher, but he didn't teach any social studies. Instead, he taught nothing but life lessons. And it sounds, it sounds funny, but he did not teach us anything about what we were in there for. It was like, I think it was like government or social studies, one of those two types of things. But instead of teaching us any of that, he would teach us about credit and credit cards, mortgages.
He's ahead of his time.
How to build your credit score. He literally taught us how to build credit scores. Just get a credit card, just like buy some like chips or something with it, and just pay it off every month.
He's giving y'all life hacks.
Yes, for real though. He literally did not teach us anything that was in the textbook that had the name of the class that he was supposedly teaching. He taught us how to rent and buy cars. He taught us what a blue book was. Like stuff like that. He taught us how to not speak to police officers when we get arrested, if we get arrested. And it was like the most unhinged life hack things, but they were all things that, like, now at the age of 30, these are the things that we want to teach to, Javed and stuff. Like, truly important life stuff. How to pay your taxes, how to get a tax consultant, all that sort of stuff. And the things he taught me, I actually continue to use throughout the rest of my life.
Yeah, the CIA for sure picked him up. Like, teachers can't be giving that knowledge to kids, especially in inner city now, bro.
And like, I do kind of wonder. I kind of wonder if he like made it out okay from that, because it really was like having a social studies class that just didn't teach you any social studies. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm wondering how he got away with that, with like the teachers board and stuff.
Even if he didn't, I'm sure he would have landed on his feet. Sounds like a guy with a lot of ingenuity.
He sounded like he'd be good at like a college, like a community college type guy.
He was cool, but we all just like laughed at him.
Y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't peep the game.
We understood that this dude is not teaching us social studies. And the fact that we go in there, sit down, pull out our notebooks, and write down how to increase our credit score, that was as funny to us then as it is to you guys now. And he was very adamant about the importance of it, but it was in a way that was, we could tell he was serious, but the whole seriousness of it in the situation was really funny. But I actually did copy that shit down because, it was like, it sounded, he was very passionate about it. So that he did impart that to us.
They need to have a class like life lessons, since they took away like wood shop, metalwork, and home ec and stuff.
What's the one with the baby?
Oh, you gotta pretend to have the baby?
Yeah, is that just like
I think that's part of home ec.
Okay.
It might have been. I mean, it could have been
home ec or health.
It might have been health.
Yeah, probably health.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember health. Yeah.
They're trying to delete health from
health is important.
They're trying to delete learning about essentially sex ed. They're trying to just delete that from schools. I'm like, bro, like
you pick up a lot of like really good support skills in health. Like you can learn CPR, then you learn about like sex and stuff like that too.
CPR, and I mean you learn about
dieting.
Well, because I mean, plus too, you're at that time in like your life where you're literally going through puberty. You don't know what the hell is going on, and it's like health class literally explains that to you, explains what you're doing, why your body's doing it, what you're going through, what the opposite sex is going through. So like,
you get to learn about the various discharges.
Yeah,
various discharges.
Yeah, always entertaining.
You know. Ooh, reminds me of one of my tests I took. It was I remember it was a test on a female genitalia, and the very top line, that's usually where you write your name, right? No, this was the line that was literally going to the clit. And so like I write my name on there, and then like so we get the test back, and they're like, oh, this student decided to think very highly of himself, and he renamed an essential part of female genitalia after his name, and like he didn't say nothing to me, so he was like passing the papers out, and I get like a 95 or a 90, like I get one wrong, and then he looks at me and he just like handed me paper, and he just chuckles and like walks away. I look at my paper and I'm just like, how's my name wrong? And then I'm like looking at it and I'm like, oh.
He could have spotted you a grade, man. He could have given you 100 on that. Come on.
Just for the X.
Oh, man.
Ah, man. What a pain in the mark. I had to do it. Sorry.
Thanks, Liz, for giving me an A on my test because you gave me the complete rundown.
Yeah, she gave you the game ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean,
basically
it was mostly
cheating.
A scarring, traumatizing memory at that point, but it helped me get an A.
About to learn about this menstruation stuff, boy.
You gonna learn today.
You
gonna learn today.
Yep, I got a random memory of middle school bringing like shuriken and like throwing knives to our PE class. We used to play like random stuff. We used to play. Well,
how with the shuriken?
I did that in the locker room, like as we were changing to play dodgeball or whatever. And I always like I found like a box in there. I was just throwing knives, and people were like, "Bro, right? Why you can't?" But eventually, of course, they would join in.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, talk shit, then join.
Yeah.
Have I ever? Oh man, this is gonna sound super weeaboo-ish, but I swear I did not buy this. I actually earned it in a karate class one time. Have I ever shown you guys my shuriken?
I didn't know you had a shuriken, like a real shuriken.
Yeah, it's a real shuriken. I'll bring it one day. Those things are so much more deadly than they present themselves as.
They're super sharp.
They're super sharp,
Crazy
heavy as hell.
I just imagine that they're heavy.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, those martial artist instruments are always so much heavier in real life. Like, you played Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah.
You fought Master Mirai?
Them nunchucks.
You felt the weight of that nunchucks in that game? They are that heavy in real life.
Yeah, actually, back when Gibraltar was still a thing, like I picked up an actual like pair of real nunchucks. I'm like, and then I'm thinking about how like Bruce Lee would just like randomly, because like as a kid, like I never like Michelangelo was always my favorite Ninja Turtle, right? But I never thought he was that deadly. But then I picked up those nunchucks and I was like, oh, I see now.
Two what batons basically, two nightsticks
just
attached by a chain.
Smash on the head with them.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Well, like a shuriken will go through a sternum.
Yeah.
Definitely. It'll pierce the stomach like no problem. Go through a sternum. Actually put a little bit just that is going into you.
Yeah, we
holy crap.
Yeah, we cut through a lot of boxes and messed up a lot of lockers. I'm surprised nobody came in. We were making like loud ass sounds.
Yeah, like how you
we're going to full force. We were just
like
it go through and just stick into the locker.
Straight into that metal.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I can't imagine you getting it out. Like if it's a shuriken, that's gonna be tough.
Eventually it rusted because we were just so reckless with them. Yeah, so that's why I don't got it to this day because we were just so.
Hold on, pause, go back. How did you get shuriken and throwing knives?
Oh, my uncle had like all sorts of killing utensils that
My uncle had all sorts of killing utensils.
We're using, yeah. And I had so much cool stuff. Remember that dictionary thing I brought to Cass, that thing like that could speak out loud? You could type stuff into it, it would speak out loud. I had that all throughout middle school too. So I think that's why I got a lot of referrals. Like it would be quiet and I'd play like something stupid.
I definitely looked up boobs
like show me your ass or something like that. Yeah. But I had a lot of cool doodads because my uncle used to get stuff boosted back in the day. Like he used to get like a lot of illegal.
Hey man, it fell off the truck. It's cool. Don't worry about
it. Yeah, so I just had a lot of cool stuff like that.
Okay.
Back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember this. He had this thing called Web TV back in 1999. Yeah, it was called Web TV. It was like a little box you could hook up to your TV to browse the internet in a very primitive way. Like it was super primitive.
I mean, that's super intuitive for like 1999.
Yeah. So that was really like my first experience with the internet was through Web TV, and it was so. Thinking back on it, it's so bad, but it was baller. Like
I mean, that is baller.
It was baller. It was like, man, Uncle, you got all these great things, and he used to show me like a lot of like cool stuff, like that thing you wrote, Burger Dictator, and that like Palm Pilot thing.
Wasn't that
you?
I forgot
about that Palm Pilot thing.
Wasn't that you that wrote Burger Dictator?
No, that was your script. Yeah, you wrote the whole thing out.
What did you write about 50 Cent? Because I remember this stupid thing you wrote. You wrote it in Mr. Wilson's class. It was something about 50 Cent.
Was it in the Palm Pilot?
You said 50 Cent can't even catch the bus.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, dang, man, what a time to bring that junk up.
When you said the Palm Pilot thing, I remember it because I was like, because I don't remember if you left it on your desk or something, but like I went to grab it and I was like, I think this, I know who this wants to. Like, and I remember that was like the first thing up there. It's like 50 Cent, he can't even ride the bus.
We used to pass it around. That's how like I read Burger Dictator because you wrote it in there for me to read it.
Oh,
yeah, I had read it, and we used to just write stupid stuff in there.
I do.
You wrote the whole thing in there, bro. You wrote the whole, and it's still there. If I could like power it up, it will still be there.
You need some archaic power cord.
Yeah, and I need like a new screen on it, a new like LED screen.
Like Pray to the Thunder God.
Wait, what game were we skipping class to play?
What do you mean we? That was me. That was.
Yeah, I know, but I always knew where you were. If I needed to find you, what were you playing?
Oh no! Wait, when I go into the.
Went to the library. You were playing something all the time.
Oh, in the library?
Was it a Newgrounds thing or
was it Habbo Hotel or something? Or
no? I think I was practicing HTML actually.
No, you were playing a game. Well, I mean, you could have been, but it was a game you were playing. Because I played it for like the tiniest bit. I
mean, they had some fire Flash games back then, like the Digimon on the Fox Kids thing, the tunnel shooter.
Oh, those, yeah.
Or the Cartoon Network stuff.
Oh, the Cartoon Network card game. Do you remember that?
I remember
it wasn't Mario Kart, but like the kart racing game they had on there.
Card game.
Oh,
I didn't get to play that one.
It was a card game. You could earn cards by watching Cartoon Network and putting in codes, and it was like some weird little. I'll say like it was a very primitive version of Marvel Snap. Where you had the had the Cartoon Network characters. And
actually, I do remember that.
It was really fun, and
I remember that Digimon game.
Yeah,
I always go into that.
Cartoon Network had a bunch of different ones too. They had like an action platformer game, but they also had the card game. I remember you had to log in like every week to get like points or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Like every Friday, for some reason, that comes to mind. I'd log in on Fridays. That's because Friday they'd have the new cars and they put the codes for it up on the cartoons.
Yeah, because this one on new episode drop.
Yeah.
Cartoon Fridays.
Yep. Yeah, and then the Tsunamis at night.
Oh yeah.
Until Adult Swim.
Hey, it was
peak,
a good time,
bro.
Man. It was a super
peak
good time
to be alive.
I remember me spending my my lunches in the library on the computer.
That's what I'm saying. You were playing something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's a lot of good reasons to go to the computer at that time, though. I remember printing off pictures and stuff like that around that time. Oh, you printed off Robin Wizard's hat in 9th grade and gave that to me. Yeah.
Robin.
Yeah, you was printing off stuff like that in 9th grade.
Robin Wizard's hat. Don't make me think. Do you remember your computer class you had?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about that story.
So what you had the 9th grade, right?
Yeah, she hated me. I think I was only 9th grade. It was only a few 9th graders in there. It was mostly like 11th graders.
So I had her class in 11th grade.
Yeah.
And so we get to our final project, right? And on the final project, she's like, okay, so this is how you do. She explains her project and she's like, I'm going to give you a couple examples. And she was like, this student was my worst student by far. They didn't do any of their assignments all year, or they had turned them in and they did them half, or they didn't do anything. But this final assignment, they just went above and beyond. And it's one of the best versions of this assignment I ever have. And everyone's like, well, did they pass it? It's like, no, they failed the class, but this was one of they got the highest grade I've ever given out in this class on this assignment. And then as soon as it loads up, I see Breezy's name, and I like, shit you not, I laughed so incredibly hard that she stopped the class and looks at me. It's like, what's so funny? I'm like, that's like one of my closest friends. And she gives me this look like, Jesus help you.
I remember that assignment too. I remember the opening part of it was freaking Batman laughing.
Just in the corner.
With the evil laughter.
It would just be Batman.
I don't remember what the assignment was. It's just like her intro to talking about Breezy it was so ridiculous.
I think it was just like a PowerPoint presentation.
It was.
I just had like a bunch of ridiculous clips and sound effects and yeah.
Oh, I was goated. But like, it was just funny because like, that was the gold standard in her class. Yeah. But she prefaced it.
She showed it to other classes. Like, that's wild.
For years. Because I took it in 11th grade. So that's 2 years, shoot. 2.5 years later.
Yeah, I was long gone by then. Wow.
And that's what I'm saying. She was like, yeah, I showed this every time we get to this assignment, every semester. And I'm just like,
I wonder. I've got the ultimate story. How much time do we have left?
I don't know, actually, because we had the long intro.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
we'll end it after this, then. We'll just say that.
I'm so ashamed of this, but I'm so not. All right. So Anime Club was a thing. We were all in it at the time, but the story starts off with me going on to the very early version of Amazon, eBay, and buying a whole bunch of cheap bootleg anime porn. Right? I'm going to come out and I'm going to say a name for a series that you cannot look up, okay? Do not watch this.
No.
But the name of the series, and I remember it to this day, was Princess 69. And it sounds like a dumb name, and it is a dumb name. And it was a dumb story. And it was way out of pocket.
Yeah, something we should not have been watching at that age.
It was something we should not have been watching at any age. And I remember I was 13, 14 at the time. And I watched it, and it disgusted me. And it was like, no matter how hard I tried, like, there is such a thing called a shameful fap.
Right? Yeah. But
I could not even manage that. Not even as a shame fap. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. It was the most disgusting story I had ever seen. And for some reason, I took the video and I gave it to the members of the anime club.
Oh, God. No.
Specifically, I gave it to Amber. Amber watched it. And she was disgusted by it. And she gave it to someone else. And they gave it to someone else. It was like the friggin' Ring videotape. It was cursed. Yeah. It made the rounds around the anime club. Eventually, everyone had watched it. And then, like a year later, after I left, I found out that it had become a hazing ritual for the anime club. They would give it to new members, and new members were required to write a book report about it. And I remember when I heard about that, I was just like, oh, God. I was the one who caused that. I'm so sorry. I hope that ritual has stopped because,
Bro.
Oh man, there are so many people. Well, actually, there aren't that many people, but anyone who listens to this and decided to Google it, I'm sorry.
Godspeed, my friend.
Godspeed.
Godspeed.
Leaving legacies.
Out here. Yeah, man. You got Breeze's computer class legacy.
Yeah.
Got the blight of the anime club.
Ryan's dirty smut legacy.
Filthy smut.
Filthy smut.
Just could not fap to it.
I mean, I'm glad you couldn't, to be honest, because that movie was it took twists and turns that nothing never needs to take.
I'm sorry. Apparently, I must have given it to you guys too. I don't remember it, but it's
I got it first.
It's the kind of fucked up thing that I would definitely spread to my friends first. So that sounds pretty right. I'm sorry, but I guess I just didn't want to suffer alone. That sounds like me.
Yeah, it was. It was a. I watched it. You won't see that on Retro Rewind, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's not going on Retro Rewind.
That should go on anybody's. It should be on no one's watch list. That should just be buried with E.T.
Damn.
The E.T. Atari game, just buried in that same.
You know what else should be buried? That DVD you had, Black Bubble Butt.
That was a successful shame fap.
So back in my GameStop days, I had guy came in to trade in his 360, and he turns it on, and I hear, and I'm just like, look. I turn around and look at it. I'm like, what? He's like, my bad, bro. I just, it was in there before I left. And I'm just like, so I take it out. I take the DVD out, and it's Big Black Bubble Butts 9 or something,
something like that.
Big Bubble Butt Sluts 9.
It was on like a blank.
It was
CD.
it was burnt. Yeah, it was a burnt DVD. So I remember taking it out of the 360, handed it to the dude, and I'm like, "This is yours."
Did you wash your hands afterwards?
I did, and then after I processed the tray, get it all wrapped up, whatever, I realized the DVD's still there. Like a good upstanding gentleman, I give it to my friends.
Yeah. As you do.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, I watched
it too. I mean, it happened.
Yeah, it was a thing. I don't even remember it. I don't even remember who was like in it.
I don't remember it either. But that reminds me, when I went to New York when I was a kid, I ended up finding this. I ended up going to Chinatown and ended up buying 2 porn DVDs. When I got back, one of the guys I went to school, one of the guys that was in one of my English classes asked me about it. I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, you can borrow it. I mean, like, we didn't have it. It wasn't the internet. It wasn't easily accessible back then. Never got that movie back. Never got that movie back. I mean, you know how hard it is to get $10 when you're like 14 and don't have a job? Like that movie
was a whole quest to get
that movie meant a lot just for the fact that I spent $20 on these 2 movies.
You got it from Chinatown.
I did. It was from Chinatown. Because we went to all the less than shady, they weren't necessarily shady spots to buy stuff from, because we getting all the knockoff of stuff, because I'm like 14 buying like Louis Vuitton bags and stuff. Of course it's all fake. But it's like, I went to this place that's like kind of shady, but not really. So yeah, it was, it was nice.
I'm surprised you didn't find Girls Going Wild Doggy Style.
I mean, it could have been there. I mean, like, the time I wasn't ballsy enough to like look through the bin or whatever, it was kind of like, saw the first 2 that caught my eye, and I was like, get these, pay for it, and get out. I mean, the guy at the counter could obviously care less, but like, me being like 14, 15 at the time.
That's interesting. I still haven't had a time where I like bought porn from like a store. So I don't even know what that experience is like nowadays.
It wasn't a store. It was like a dude with a basket.
But like what if, cause I know, FYE was like selling that stuff. And they like got like a bin of it.
Yeah, you had like the cards in front of it.
Yeah. I've just never like bought any in public
because it's hilariously expensive.
Yeah,
I went to one of the sex shops. Was looking at like a Blu-ray. It was like $60, and I'm like,
damn.
Wow.
To be fair though, it's like 6 hours. Because it's like, you remember back in the day, it was just like a collection of scenes or whatever. So it was like 6 hours for like $60. I mean, like, the math works out. Like, it's not really that expensive. But I mean, like, I'm still not spending $60.
Yeah, more shame TMI knowledge. But those collections, they usually reuse the same shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen it. It was like, this scene looks familiar. Go over to my pile of shame, look through it like, yeah, this was in Big Black Bubble Sluts Knives.
This was in 7. Liars. Those liars. This isn't a new scene.
Remember when we first learned it was gonna go HD and we were like so against it? We were like, oh man, it's gonna be too much detail.
You're gonna be able to see their pores.
We're gonna see everything.
How far we have fallen.
Oh yeah, let me see them follicles.
Ultra HD.
Yeah, let me see the hairs on your butt crack.
Oh god.
Jeez.
Well, that's a great place to
end it. So as always, thank you everyone for coming to hang out with us. Hope to see you again. New people, come hang out again. Old people, thanks for being here as usual. So find us on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. If you find us on Spotify, give us a review. Let us know what you got to say about us. You like us, you don't like us, whatever you do, just say what you mean. And on that note, may your bed stay warm, your pillow stay cold.
This was a ratchet episode. Stay perfect, chat.
Oh, how horrible we talk about such smuttish things.